Hi there. Welcome to this world's flow, the flow of the demiurge. So you begin with lack, you know, scarcity, not enough, not enough of anything, um, lack of opportunities, lack of jobs, lack of money, lack of friends, lack of meaningful contacts, lack of a significant other. Um, there are so many different things that lack in our lives. Um, but of course, I know what you're going to say. Well, it's a matter of perception, isn't it? I mean, the beer glass. um, the beer glass, is it half empty or is it half full? Uh, you know, lack, the word lack, is sort of controlled by perception in a sense. You perceive lack in your life or in the lives of other people or in the life of your community. And again, you could see it as a half full glass life, life as a half full glass or a half empty glass. But I think the fact is that in this world, you know, as a Gnostic, you are looking at the world as it is, and the world as it is lacking in the sense that energy or matter is, from your point of view or from the point of view of your loved ones or your community of loved ones, in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that is a fact of life. And overall, this is true. So, whilst there may not be lack in the ultimate sense of the word, because energy is just being recycled, going round and round and round. So one might say there's definitely a finite amount of energy, which is just being cycled and recycled. And if you happen to be on the bit that's going up, well and good. But if the bit's going down, then all is not good for you and your loved ones and your community and your country or whatever. So, as an ill wind that blows nobody any good as well. And so perception does come into it, but I think there's also a genuine lack, or is a something lacking in this world. And you come up against this something like a brick wall, something dark, something hideous. If you jump off a skyscraper, you will fall to your death. So that's not perception. That's real. That's for real. So some lack is actually for real, despite looking at it from a perceptual point of view or a cognitive point of view. Whereas lack could be not lacking, but a source of opportunities, kind of thing, which you could fill if you applied yourself. But people do perceive lack, and once they perceive lack, they go quickly from a lack to I got it the wrong way around here, to a lack. No, to a lack. And lack is an old-fashioned, archaic English word for, what, WTF, why does it always rain on me? Did I lie when I was 17? It's like a lack. It's like, you get fed up with things, and you get pissed with everything and everyone. And of course, you either blame yourself, and hurt yourself, which is quite an unusual thing, in fact, or you blame somebody else or blame other people. So it's the Jews or the lizard people or the Queen of England or, reptile aliens or the Freemasons or whatever. And these are the people that are taking something away from you, or keeping something secret from you, the secret of success in life, and they're not telling you what it is. So they're to blame for your ignorance, if you like, for your lack of knowledge or lack of worldliness or worldly success. So there's always someone to blame around the place, and blame other communities, and blame other countries, and blame other ethnic groups, of course, which is the usual one, isn't it? Really. So there's a lack. And then quickly from a lack, or sometimes from a lack, come attack. So attack follows from a lack, from your emotions, your negative emotions, and you can end up, I don't know, taking it out on a bus stop or on yourself or on somebody else or on a group of people, or going to have a fight or becoming a football hooligan or drinking copious amounts of alcohol or taking loads of drugs. And you go into attack, and your life goes into attack, and your life goes into rage mode. And when I think of myself, I think of how rageful and wrathful I am all the time, really. That rage is part of my life, part of my makeup, as it were. And it could be for you as well, like, you're full of rage, your social justice warriors, or your PC thought police, or whatever, or your woke people, woke blokes, going around throwing, I don't know, throw statues of Abraham Lincoln into the Missouri River or something, because that will make you feel better. But it's only a temporary rush of adrenaline and expression. And after that, from the attack and the consequences of attack, um, comes comes mind, what I call mind sack. And the mind sack is when you get depressed, remorseful, regretful, you go have guilt about what you've done. People don't like you, and you ruminate about how everything's terrible for you, which and most of the time you brought it on yourself, which is also a thing you can ruminate on as well, and and you go into, and also you sometimes you go into kind of like a sort of logic, a kind of a obsessive compulsive disorder, a mind sack. You think of a sack as being something which is closed, something which, a sack, a devil's sack, a devil has a sack for me kind of thing. And so, a mind F up, basically. And then from here, you can go. Well, from here you go into a choice. Really, you sort of hit bottom, and you can go back. So you can go back to more lack, and then rinse and repeat. You go from lack to a lack and attack, and then mind sack. So there's a vicious cycle. Or I suppose you can reappraise your life. You can go look at life again. So you go back to looking at your life, and perhaps you look at the world as a source of abundance instead of lack, in the sense that the glass is half full instead of half empty. And you could see life as being full of challenges become opportunities, and you go into this whole sort of not positive thinking, but just a recognition of your life and of other people's lives and the life of your community, so that you can look at everything again, and but also I think you look back at life, and also you accept life as what is. But I think this is strengthened by going back to the garden. And what I mean by back to the garden, we've got to get back to the garden, as the lyrics say. You have a Gnostic experience, you have numinous experience, or you have an experience of a power greater than yourself and other than yourself. And this strange and sometimes unsettling experience enables you to do two things, really. One, to see that life is half full and not half empty, but also it makes you see life as it is, and life is lacking. Life is unfair. Life's a bitch, and then you die. And you accept what is, and of course, you change what you can change, and you accept what you can't change, and you have the wisdom to know the difference. So, and this kind of springs or arises from the experience of the transcendental God, or his or her or its avatar, or angels, or vision of Jesus on the cross, or whatever, or Mary Magdalene, or Mary, Mother of Jesus, any of the characters, from any sacred book, basically. And this numinous experience also reminds you that matter is illusory, and that we are falling through matter, as it were, even though we're hitting matter all the time. I mean, hitting our head against a brick wall. But at the same time, there is no brick wall, there's no head. We're just falling, 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 falling. And at some point, we're going to land on our feet, when we hit the ground of reality, which is God. And then at that point, we will see everything, basically, as Neo in the Matrix sees everything as just code, holographic computer code, and nothing, and the bullets are not really there, and they're not really coming for him, and yet at the same time they are, they are there, they are coming for him. So he sees this, he sees the bullets as existent and non-existent, but he also perceives the ground on which he is walking, which is real, and that cannot be, transcended, because it is the transcendent. But at this point, language becomes completely sort of superfluous and stupid, and I don't know what I'm talking about, because I can't express it really. So at that point, we stop falling, and then we have kind of like the birth of religion, and you can call it any religion you like. Religion represents the floor onto which you finally drop, and your feet touch the floor. Your feet touch the bottom, which is the underlying reality of God. Um, and that experience may lead you to reappraise your life, to look at life differently, so that you don't just rinse and repeat. You don't just go back to lack, and a lack, and then attack, and then mind sack. You can move. You can genuinely move on, in terms of consciousness, and even perhaps in a limited way, by being at the right place at the right time, and things sort of fall into place for you. But I mean, you've got to be careful of things falling into place for you, because sometimes this is just some kind of force, which is giving you an opportunity so it can feed on you in other ways. Because you don't get something for nothing in this world. So things fall into place for you, and then other things fall out of place immediately. So you have to accept that as it is as well, like, and if things go belly up, or there's a trade off happens, as a result of your success in life, whatever that means, and then basically, you have to accept what is, because this is the world, and this is the flow of the energy of the demiurge, as we go round and round. But at the same time, even within this world of matter, we can touch the transcendental, and the transcendental can touch us, and when that happens, you know, something changes. It may not be for the good, ultimately, because there is no ultimate good in this world. This is the world where evil is exalted and good is corrupted. So, but momentarily, you can have the experience of the transcendental, which will give you a window onto infinite transcendental experience, which awaits you because you are soul. And also, it can have like a beneficial effect on the perception of lack in your life. And you can turn it round. You know, if you turn the word round, lack, it becomes like calc, which is like sort of calculation. So you can calculate. In fact, you have a kind of like two a piece of paper and two columns. A column is lack, scarcity, and the other column is abundance. And you can calculate a number of things which might be good for you or abundant in your life, and you might find that in fact when you coldly calculate it objectively, you can actually find that there are more things going for you than not going for you. So that can help in just coping with life on a daily basis. And then the final point, basically, is that every day you need to go to your higher power. You need, from because you have a transcendental experience, and you need to remember it every day. Remember the experience that you had, and apply that experience to changing the way that you perceive the world. Always knowing that this world will always catch you out in the end. The banker always wins, in the casino of life, the bank always wins. So you play the odds, and you might win, but you also will lose more than you win until, of course, you die, which in fact is not loss in that sense at all, but a gaining of soul. It's just that it'd be nice to become aware of that gaining of soul, if one could put it like that, at the end, rather than just sort of, perhaps not being aware, and then perhaps even just going back on the treadmill again of lack, a lack, attack, mind sack, and back. It'd be nice to get off that wheel. And you can either do it temporarily in this life, or you can do it permanently when soul awareness floods your consciousness at the end, and you realize that that there is nothing basically to get hung about. Ultimately, you let go, and you just let go, and you fall. You let go, and you just fall and fall and fall, because you know that you're going to fall onto the soft, cushy reality of God, um, or not. And if you're an atheist, then you just let yourself fall and fall. You just let go. You don't mind if you never reach the ground, and the falling almost becomes the ground itself, in a sort of Zen Buddhist kind of way, which is another thing to think about as well. So perhaps you don't even need to have the concept of God. You can be a complete atheist, and still let go. And when you let go, and you fall and fall, the falling becomes the ground on which you are walking. So you're not walking, you're falling. You're not falling, you're walking. If but that's a kind of mental trick that you can play and apply in real life if you just can't believe in God, and some people just can't. They don't have the genetic makeup to do so, but they shouldn't be excluded from the mysticism of the Gnostic experience, or the Gnostic worldview. They shouldn't be excluded just because they can't believe in God. That wouldn't be fair. So there has to be a kind of Gnosticism for atheists, as well as for theists. I think that's only fair and proper and right. And I wouldn't be happy about leaving this life and leaving atheists to just see the lacking side of life and to be despairing and attacking people all the time, and then becoming remorseful and guilty and reproachful and self-deprecating. That you wouldn't want to leave someone in that kind of mind funk, going round and round and round like a like a hamster in a cage on a wheel. That would be terrible, and is terrible. And only when people become aware of how terrible that is, well, that can often be, I suppose, a call to arms, a wake up call. When you become aware that you are the hamster just going round and round and round, you think to yourself, "I've got to change, man. I got to change." And loads of people do change, so that's encouraging to think that loads of people that are less intelligent than you, have changed as a result, becoming aware of the flow of the demiurge and the flow of this world.